Hi guys, it's Dan from Dan's Best Tech. Apple finally did it. They announced their 2020 13-inch MacBook Air with the new updated scissor-style keyboard, significantly improved CPU and GPU performance, and doubled storage out of the box. In this video, I wanted to quickly discuss my first impressions. Is it worth the asking price? How does it compare to the previously released MacBooks? And do I finally think it's capable of running Final Cut Pro? Stay tuned for more. Oh, and if it wasn't obvious, what I'm holding here is not the new 2020 MacBook Air, but the 2015 11-inch MacBook Air. I first wanted to say thanks to all of you for sticking around for my videos. These videos each take a long time to make, so if you want to show your appreciation, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Oh, and if you see something that you don't like, let me know in the comments as well. Let's start by discussing the different configuration options available on Apple's website. Right off the bat, they are trying to sell you on the Core i3 $1,000 model. I don't recommend anyone getting the Core i3 unless you can get it for less than $300. They just aren't very future-proof. Therefore, I recommend you looking at the $1,300 MacBook Air with the Core i5 processor and configuring it from there. If you are a casual browser of the web and need something small and light to take notes on in class or in meetings, then this version should be just fine for you. But for me, I want to see if I can replace my 2015 MacBook Air I use for writing scripts and my 2015 MacBook Pro I use for video editing. Therefore, I'm going to max out my specs to see how far we can push this thing. I'm upgrading from the 10th gen Core i5 to the quad-core Core i7, $450 more, upgrading the RAM from 8GB to 16GB for $200 more, and upgrading the SSD storage from the already sufficient 512GB to the 1TB for $200 more. That brings our total up to $1,850, or approximately $2,000 after tax. Yeah, that's pretty expensive to me. Let's see if it's worth it and if I can convince my wife to let me keep it. Now for the new keyboard using the traditional scissor switch keys. Apple is calling it their new Magic Keyboard, first introduced on the 16-inch MacBook Pro last year, but really it's just a traditional laptop keyboard that everyone loves. It delivers 1mm of key travel versus the 0.6 to 0.8mm of key travel in the previous flawed butterfly keyboards, but it isn't as much key travel as the 2015 MacBook Airs and Pros. That said, I tried these keys on the 16-inch MacBook Pro and they feel just fine. You'll get used to the travel distance after only a few minutes, where I could never get used to the travel distance on the butterfly switches. They're also quieter for when you're taking notes in class or in the office, and you don't have to worry about their longevity. They won't break from a piece of dust. Way to go, Apple. Regarding the trackpad ports, size, and screen, these are all unchanged from last year, and I'll discuss them in more detail in the full review when I get the product in hand. Regarding the weight, it increased from 2.75 to 2.80 pounds, which at first you might think is a bad thing, but I'm hoping that Apple improved the cooling inside the laptop similarly to what Razer did when they released the Razer Blade Stealth last year. Slightly heavier, but much more powerful and better cooling. Regarding battery life, Apple is pretty honest on their website as to what you'll get. Last year's dual-core MacBook Air was able to get 12 hours, but this year's quad-core version is only benchmarked to get 11. The battery life will still get you through the entire day, and it's worth it to me for such a huge performance upgrade. Which leads me to the CPU and integrated GPU. This is the first time Apple has included a quad-core processor in its MacBook Airs, so it's a very exciting time. These MacBook Airs include the latest 10th generation Intel processors with base clock speeds of around 1.1 GHz with a turbo boost speed up to around 3.8 GHz. After desperately searching to see which processor is most similar, I stumbled upon the Core i7 1065G7 processor, which gets a Geekbench 5 single-core score of approximately 1100 and a multi-core score of around 3000 to 4800. And the Intel Iris Plus graphics has a Geekbench 5 OpenCL score of around 8000. To put these scores into perspective, my 2015 MacBook Air only gets a single-core score of 600, a multi-core score of 1300, and an OpenCL score of 4000. My 2015 15-inch 4.5-pound MacBook Pro with the M370X GPU only gets a single-core score of 800, a multi-core score of 3200, and an OpenCL score of 10,000. And last year's 2018 and 2019 MacBook Airs only get a single core score of 800, multi-core score of 1500, and an OpenCL score of 4000. But we're still not anywhere close to being as powerful as last year's 16-inch MacBook Pro though, with a single core score of 1100, a multi-core score of 5600, and an OpenCL score of 23,000. That said, the 16-inch MacBook Pro is much heavier and more expensive, but if you can live with Windows, then the 2019 Razer Blade Stealth with a GTX 1650 Max-Q only weighs slightly more, is available for around the same price, and gets a single-core score of 1100, a multi-core score of 5500, but an OpenCL score of 37,000. But for me, I do all my video editing in Final Cut Pro, so the super light and portable MacBook Air might just be powerful enough for me. I can't wait to get my hands on it. Therefore, yeah, I think I can start thinking about replacing my super light and portable 2015 MacBook Air for script writing and my much larger 2015 MacBook Pro for video editing. I'll keep you posted when it arrives, but right now I think the much anticipated updated scissor style keyboard and the significant upgrade to the CPU and GPU performance are going to finally give us the super high quality MacBook Airs we've been wanting since 2017. Catch you in the next one.